a shadow in the night. The night is cold, the sky thick with darkness, and the only sound is the rustle of leaves in the wind. Then it happens. You glance in the rearview mirror, and two burning red eyes are staring back at you from the shadows. Is it a trick of the light? Or have you just caught a glimpse of something beyond explanation? Something lurking at the edges of our reality, waiting for the right moment to appear. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Mothman, a winged, red-eyed enigma that first terrorized the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966. For some, the Mothman is nothing more than a local legend, a story to scare kids on Halloween. But for others, it's a harbinger of doom, tied to some of the most chilling disasters in history. Stick around, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the world. And if you're a fan of mysterious tales, cryptids, and conspiracy theories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The first sightings, the birth of a legend. Our story begins on November 12, 1966, in Clendenin, West Virginia. A group of gravediggers is working late into the evening when they notice something unusual. A large, human-like figure with wings flying low over the nearby trees. The men freeze, staring in disbelief as the creature glides silently into the darkness. That should have been the end of it. A strange but isolated incident. But just 3 days later, on November 15, 1966, something much more terrifying would happen. Roger and Linda Scarberry, along with Steve and Mary Millette, were driving through the TNT area just north of Point Pleasant in a black 1957 Chevy. It was supposed to be a fun night out, a joyride to one of their favorite hangout spots. But what they encountered that night would haunt them forever. As they pulled up to the old, abandoned North Power Plant, their headlights caught something strange. Two large, glowing red eyes reflected in the darkness. Steve noticed it first and pointed it out to the group. That's when they saw it. A gray, man-like figure with wings folded against its back. It stood at least 6 or 7 feet tall, its eyes glowing like fiery coals. Linda later described it as half man, half monster. You could see muscles in its legs, she said, and it didn't run like a person. It wobbled, almost like it couldn't keep its balance. Panic set in. The couples jumped back into the car, screaming for Roger to drive. As they sped down Route 62, they saw the creature again, perched on a hill by a large billboard. It spread its wings and took off straight into the air, gliding silently above them like a giant bird. Roger pressed the accelerator to the floor, hitting speeds of over 100 miles per hour, but the creature kept pace with them, swooping back and forth over the car. They could hear its wings hitting the roof. Linda looked out the back window and saw its shadow pass over them. No matter how fast they drove, they couldn't shake it. Only when they reached the edge of town did the creature finally veer off into a nearby field and disappear. The aftermath. Fear grips Point Pleasant. Shaken and terrified, the group went straight to the police. Deputy Millard Halstead listened to their story with skepticism at first, but it didn't take long for him to realize they were genuinely frightened. These weren't troublemakers or pranksters. They were 4 terrified young adults who had clearly seen something that had shaken them to their core. Deputy Halstead drove out to the TNT area with the couples. He shined his spotlight around the old power plant and the surrounding woods, but there was no sign of the creature. Still, the couples refused to go back home that night. Instead, they stayed at the Scarberry's trailer with all the lights on, too scared to sleep. The next day, Sheriff George Johnson held a press conference, and the local press began printing the story. They dubbed the creature Mothman, inspired by the comic book character Batman, who had recently become a television sensation. More and more people started coming forward with their own encounters. One witness, Marcella Bennett, described an encounter that still gives chills to anyone who hears it. Marcella Bennett's terrifying experience. Just a day after the Scarberry sighting, Marcella drove out to visit family near the TNT area. As she stepped out of her car, holding her baby, she suddenly saw it, 2 glowing red eyes staring at her from the darkness. The creature was just feet away. Marcella froze in terror. Her knees gave out, and she collapsed to the ground, clutching her child. She was convinced it was going to attack, but the Mothman didn't move. It simply watched her for what felt like an eternity before turning and disappearing into the night. Marcella stumbled back to her car and sped away. She told her story to the police, just like the Scarberrys had. And soon, Point Pleasant was buzzing with reports of strange encounters. The Silver Bridge collapse, a harbinger of doom. December 15, 1967. The Silver Bridge, a vital connection between Point Pleasant and Gallipolis, Ohio, was packed with rush-hour traffic. Without warning, the bridge began to shake. Steel beams groaned and buckled. In less than a minute, the entire structure collapsed into the icy waters of the Ohio River, killing 46 people. The tragedy stunned the nation, but in Point Pleasant, many believed it was no coincidence. Several witnesses claimed to have seen the Mothman perched on top of the bridge in the days leading up to the disaster. Some believed it was a warning. Others thought it had caused the collapse. Whatever the truth, the connection between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge disaster cemented the creature's reputation as a harbinger of doom. Theories. What is the Mothman? Over the years, countless theories have emerged to explain the Mothman phenomenon. Theory number 1, a misidentified bird. Some skeptics believe the original sightings were nothing more than a misidentified sandhill crane or heron. These birds can stand nearly as tall as a human and have reddish eyes, but could a bird really chase a car at 100 miles per hour? Theory number 2, a government experiment gone wrong. Others believe the Mothman is the result of a government experiment gone horribly wrong. The TNT area was once a munitions plant filled with toxic chemicals. Could something have mutated in the shadows of that decaying factory? Theory number 3, a supernatural being or interdimensional entity. Perhaps the most chilling theory is that the Mothman isn't of this world at all. Witnesses have described strange lights in the sky and visits from mysterious men in black after their encounters with the creature. Could the Mothman be a visitor from another dimension? The legacy of the Mothman. Today, Point Pleasant has fully embraced its cryptid mascot. The town hosts an annual Mothman festival that draws thousands of visitors from around the world. There's even a Mothman museum and a towering statue of the creature in the town square. But for those who lived through the original sightings, it's not just a story. It's a warning. The Mothman might still be out there, waiting in the shadows, watching. And if you ever find yourself driving down a lonely stretch of road late at night, you might want to check your rearview mirror. Because once you see those glowing red eyes, it's already too late. The Men in Black and UFO connection. What do you think? Was the Mothman a misunderstood bird, a supernatural entity, or something far more sinister? Drop your theory in the comments below, and if you're ready for more, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because the Mothman might not be the only thing lurking in Point Pleasant. Many witnesses reported strange lights in the sky and mysterious visitors dressed in black. Were they sent to silence the witnesses, or were they somehow connected to the creature itself? In the next video, we'll dive into the UFO sightings, the chilling accounts of the Men in Black. Trust me, things are about to get even stranger.